So I'm over here in the workshop part of Nowgomatic, and what I wanted to show you today was how we use a Dremel like this one, which is not expensive. You can get these for about 30 bucks to just polish scratches out of stainless steel cases. This is actually one of the watches we're working on at the moment, just doing a bit of refurbishment. It's going to have a new battery and a few other things, but if you have a look here, in fact I'll zoom in a little bit so you can have a better look. You can see there's quite a few scratches on the whole watch from about 10-12 years worth of wear. So what I'm going to show you today is just how we will just gently polish those scratches out using a Dremel. One of the things I think that we use that I think is useful for you to learn about is when we use a Dremel, there's a couple of different attachments. I tend to use these felt attachments. I like the tip shaped ones for sort of precision work. But I also like the kind of cylinder shaped ones, and these are made of felt or wool, and you can get them on eBay. You can get like a pack of like 100 for like $6. And then there are three types of polish predominantly used by people in watchmaking, and this stuff is called Dialox. It's effectively, I think it's pretty much known as a kind of jeweler's paste. But there are the three colours that you're mainly going to want to use are the white, which I've got a block of here, which you can see I use quite a lot, green, which I also use quite a lot, and red, which I don't use as often. Let me go through it in order. Green is got the highest grit, so it will remove the most, and it does the best job on harder metals. So you might want to use green on some strong stainless steels or strong watches with quite a strong metal. The red is predominantly aimed at gold, which is obviously a softer metal, so it's not as harsh, it's not removing quite as much because it doesn't take as long to polish gold up. And the white is kind of a finishing compound, so I would use that for a very fine mirror polish once I've maybe used one of the others. Or on a very low power setting on the Dremel. You can even use the white on some plastics and acrylics just to polish scratches out, and I've even used the white on the odd acrylic crystal of a watch as well, sometimes to get scratches out. So I've already kind of done a little bit of work on this already, so I know that actually the best outcome for this to start with is the green, because it's quite a sturdy stainless steel here. But as you can see, I'm going to zoom back in again now for some closer work. There's a lot of scratches on the front here, so what I want to do is just show you a little bit of work of what I tend to do. The key to this is a bit of practice. You tend to have with Dremels a speed setting at the end here, so you've got the on and off button, but usually Dremels have a speed setting from a max up from 1 up to about 6. My suggestion, if you're not used to using Dremels, is maybe start using it about a 2, because then you're not taking as much off as quickly, and eventually, like me, you'll get used to being able to use it at full speed if you need to. But the key whenever you're doing this kind of polishing is take your time, do it slowly, because it's difficult to put stuff back on. So what I'm going to do and just show you gently today is I'm just going to polish a little area here on the front here, so you can see the difference kind of before and after. And you can see this particular Nixon watch is quite unusual, so I'm also going to have to do some precision work around the edges here, which I probably won't do in this video, which is why I've gone for these little tips so I can work around these precision areas. And then one of the things to be aware of when you're polishing is these sharper edges. What you don't want to be doing is loitering on these and rounding these edges off, because you lose some of that crispness and the shape of the case. So wherever possible, don't loiter too long, and try not to stay on the corners. Try and work up to a corner and stay completely 90 degrees square when you're polishing, so that you kind of maintain the shape. The other word of warning is watches have these fantastic mirror shine areas, but a lot of watches also have a kind of satin finish. The inside of this watch has the satin finish. Make sure that you keep the satin areas satin, and we'll show you in a separate video how we get scratches out of satin finishes as well, and keep the glossy areas glossy. My general feeling is if you convert everything on a watch to just glossy to mirror finish, it tends to make them look cheap, and actually it adds more dynamism to a watch when they have multiple different polishings. And often some of the high-end watches like the Omegas and the Rolexes, etc., will have a nice combination of both a satin finish and a kind of mirror finish. In fact, my little Seiko over here is a good example of that. Although it's got quite a lot of shiny on the band, there's a satin finish here on the main face, so that adds some dynamism to the watch when you're looking at it from different angles. So how do we go about doing this? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is actually move away the ones I don't want. I said I'm going to work with the green today, so I'm just going to have a little bit of that. You don't need much. I'm going to turn this on. It's going to get noisy, but what I'll do is explain basically what I'm going to do, which is very gently just start by working the Dremel over just a small area at this sort of speed, And it's kind of a case of work it for a little bit and then stop and have a look how it is. I also keep a microfiber cloth relatively close, so you can wipe that kind of microfiber away and then come back to it and see how it looks afterwards. So if I fire it up, it's going to be quite noisy. You drop that right into there like that. Picked up a little bit of the green. I'm actually going to try and do this instead via video. And then you can see I'm just gently sort of rubbing it around at the moment, just getting some of that polish in and rubbing away like that. And my job here is to just do a dip and then rub. And really what we're doing this early on is just working this polish in. If it seems to get dry, do another dip, get a bit more on. And what I'm going to do is just focus on one little area here. Now, you can see what I'm avoiding doing is loitering in any one area for too long. And I'm going to do a couple more passes here on this. And I'm just going to stop. And this actually can take quite a long time, but it's worth the effort. So for just a small amount of work, I'm going to give it a bit of a wipe with a cloth. I am not finished by any means, but what you can see on the left and right here now is, if you look, you can see all the little micro scratches still on the right, and you can see we've made quite good progress here on the left with removing some of the scratches. There's still a couple of deep ones here, so I will carry on doing some work on this, but you can see it doesn't take too long to start removing that and coming back to that really nice mirror shine. Like I say, you know, it can take you half an hour or more to do this slowly. If you're working on a strap or a bracelet, it doesn't matter too much about the heat, but if you're working on a case, it tends to be better to take the movement out from the inside, because you can generate a lot of heat. I haven't actually generated that much heat now, it doesn't feel hot. But if you look, hopefully the focus will show you, you can see the scratches still on the right hand side, but the left hand is not perfect, but it's certainly on its way. I'm obviously going to carry on working on this up close now and just focus up on some other bits. What I thought I'd do to just show you is, I've been doing some work on this already. So here it is from the side, finished. So again, you can see I've kept the crispness of the edges, and it stayed nice and shiny. And I also worked my way around the bracelet here on the sides, which are already merotic. You can see, and they're nice and clean on this side. And what I did on this side, just to show you the difference, is give it a quick wipe. On the left hand side of the screen here is the side of the strap that's been done, and on the right is the side that's still scratched. And although it's subtle, you can see the difference with the crispness on the left here, but the kind of dull scratched less appearance on the right. So I've got some more work now this afternoon to clean that side up and just clean this front section more, and then I'm going to go in and do some detail work around here. Be very slow and careful, because this wooden bit on this, I think, has actually just got an acrylic top to it, and I don't want to go near it because that's just going to need a light gentle wipe. There's very few scratches and you could easily go through that very quickly. And then same with this acrylic, I don't think I need to do a lot with the crystal on here. It seems to be in pretty good condition. So the key here is to just be gentle and take your time. Don't be afraid to stop, have a look, give it a good wipe. Don't be afraid to work with a little bit of magnification as well if you want to, just to see that. Final top tip when you're doing this kind of work is that there is nothing wrong with going on eBay and buying literally a $5 junk watch that's scratched to hell, and practicing on that first, you know, just so you can get used to doing various bits to it. So there's really a lot to say for doing that as well. So as I taught myself doing this a few years ago, I taught myself first on a couple of junk watches so I can make mistakes where it doesn't matter. And obviously this skill's super useful for rings and other things as well once you've done it. We'll put a link to the Dremel and the polish and stuff that I use, the Dialux polishes, in the description on the YouTube video. You know, we do a lot of renovation of vintage watches and repairs and renovations and servicing. So we'll put some contact details down there. We're based out of Connecticut in the USA. But please like and subscribe. It means a lot, makes a big difference for us. And watch out, there's some separate videos on this watch as we do further renovation on it, taking some of the links out, putting a new battery in, and just bringing this watch back to its former glory. So there you go. Thanks very much.